Christ, I murmured to myself as the initial snowflakes began to fall. They accumulated in fuzzy clumps on the windshield before my wipers swept them away. I had been waiting for 15, no, 20 minutes now in my sister's driveway. If I had chosen to wait indoors with her, I would have suffered due to her 2 gray cats, adorable little devils, but they wreak havoc on my sinuses. Swollen eyes and a congested throat were the last things I needed. Every Christmas, our family took the yearly journey to my grandparents' cabin nestled in the woods of Hope, Alaska, and I had hoped to avoid the heavy snowfall that had been predicted. However, with my sister's license suspended due to a Dewey, I found myself at the mercy of time, nervously tapping my finger on the steering wheel. When my mother asked me to be the one to pick up my sister, I had dreaded it right from the start. It wasn't that we despised each other, we had simply grown apart. After decades of constant arguments and bitter disagreements, our relationship had become distant, and we were mere remnants of what siblings should be. Finally, like the gates of Valhalla, her front door swung open, and she emerged. Her hair was now a forest green. The last time I had seen her, it had been white. The time before that, it was violet. Got everything? I asked as she climbed into the passenger seat. She responded, adjusting her glasses and placing a few bags in the back seat. And just like that, we set off. Hope was approximately a 30-minute drive away, and it didn't take long for an awkward silence to settle between us. The fact that the radio in my car didn't work, and the broken auxiliary port made the music sound like it was having a seizure certainly didn't help. By the time we reached the turnoff for Hope Highway, the road had turned into a thick white sheet. Fortunately, on Christmas Eve night, the long stretch to Hope's small community was quick and devoid of traffic. The cabin was secluded in a fortress of trees, 5 miles off the main road. As I made the turn, my sister rolled down the window, pulled out a cigarette, and lit it with her lighter. "Want a drag?" she asked. The snow crunched beneath us. "Not while I'm driving. It's a straight path. We're practically there already." She took a puff and exhaled through the open window. "I just want to focus on driving, all right." She huffed and pushed up her glasses. "If you're that worried, maybe you should slow down a bit." There it was, a jab, an attempt to provoke another argument. But I refused to take the bait this time. She could deal with getting there a bit faster. The drive was almost over, and soon I would be in a warm living room, with my feet up, a spiked eggnog in hand, and Bobby Helms' Jingle Bell Rock filling the air. I could already hear Uncle Jed about to share one of his crude jokes. "Why does Santa Claus have such a big dude?" My sister shrieked, poking my side and diverting my attention back to the windshield. The car had just finished maneuvering around a bend. In our path stood a large reindeer, motionless as our high beams illuminated it. Wide-eyed and expressionless, it remained still. In a moment of panic, I jerked the steering wheel, desperately swerving to avoid a collision. The car skidded to the side, spraying slush in all directions. The reindeer, or caribou as it's also known, stood its ground as our bumper came within inches of its nose. We came to a crunching halt off the main path. "Jesus," I sighed with relief. "Did we hit it?" "No," my sister replied, leaning out the window to check, while exhaling another plume of smoke. I turned the steering wheel back and pressed on the gas pedal. The wheels screeched in place, flinging chunks of sleet but failing to move an inch. "Great," I groaned, opening the car door and stepping out to assess the situation. The 2 front tires were covered in black slush, nearly buried under a mound of snow. I kicked at it, attempting to clear the icy debris from the treads and the wheel well. When that proved futile, I resorted to scraping it off with my fingers. "Go away, Prancer," I heard my sister mutter toward the dark silhouette of the reindeer, its antlers reaching skyward like gnarled fingers. Then she made a startled sound followed by, "What the fuck?" I looked up from the snowy mess. The reindeer now stood tall on its hind legs. It appeared peculiar, like a cartoonish character from a children's book. However, in the quietude of the woods, it assumed an eerie presence. Its vaguely shaped form maintained a human-like balance on its 2 legs, lacking a tail. Its muscular neck twisted to the side, emitting an eerie scream, a wretched screech reminiscent of metal grinding against metal. My legs turned to ice, keeping me rooted in place as the shriek subsided. giving way to wet grunts. The reindeer dropped back onto all fours and stomped heavily. White vapor puffed from its nostrils, accompanied by strings of snot. I may not have been a hunter, but it didn't take much to recognize when an angry animal was about to charge. I leaped back into the driver's seat, yanked the door shut just as the reindeer's antlers scraped against it, and locked eyes with my sister. The large creature soared over the area I had just been standing in, moving incredibly fast. My sister screamed as it circled back, smashing into the headlights and plunging us into darkness. "Just go already," my sister shouted in my ear. "I'm trying, damn it," I hissed. The wheels spun helplessly. We were trapped. The creature charged again, this time crashing into the window. A network of cracks spread near my sister's head. Frantically, I searched for anything at all that could serve as a weapon. I wasn't particularly fond of firearms, but at that moment, I would have shaved my head and joined the secular monks if it meant having a Glock in my hand. After shaking the car once more, the reindeer seemed to lose interest and vanished into the snow-covered thicket. Given a moment to breathe and think, we called our dad and informed him of the situation. He promised to come down in his pickup and free us from this predicament. I glanced over at my sister, who was taking deep breaths between her fingers. "Are you okay?" I asked. "What do you think?" She grumbled. "I told you to slow down." Another jab, and this time I wasn't going to tolerate it. "Want to be useful?" I yelled. "Get out there and push." "No." "Then keep quiet. I don't need it right now." She fell silent, and so did I, returning to the pocket of silence that had become the norm in our relationship. The sooner Dad's headlights appeared in the distance, the better. Suddenly, my sister rolled down the window. "What are you doing?" I asked, puzzled. "SHH," she whispered, pursing her lips. "Just listen." Curious, I obliged and waited. Soon enough, I heard it too. A faint, quiet voice of a little girl coming from outside. "Somebody," it whimpered, "I'm lost. Please help me. I'm lost." My sister unlocked the door and motioned to open it. I grabbed her wrist firmly. "What are you doing?" I exclaimed. "There's someone out there. Just wait a second." "It's strange, don't you think?" The voice continued to plead and sob, begging for help. But something about it didn't sit right with me. The tone, the repetition, it felt off. Instinctively, red flags started waving in my mind. Then my sister looked at me, her expression shifting to shock. She pushed herself back, pressing her shoulders against the car's interior. Words seemed to struggle to escape her throat. I turned to see what had frightened her, and there it was, staring back at me, a face resembling a man surrounded by the mottled fur of a caribou's body. Its skin was the color of weathered leather, tightly stretched over its elongated skull. Snowflakes landed on its unblinking, wide eyes, melting into dark pupils. The creature circled our car, its antlers bobbing, fogging up the windows as it peered inside. My heart pounded against the walls of my throat. Locked in disbelief, I met my sister's eyes, unable to utter a single word. I should have reached for my phone, captured a photo, or recorded a video, but my thoughts were muddled, paralyzed by shock. Then it emitted that same dreadful scream, but its tightly sealed lips didn't move. The sound emanated from its neck. Small, fleshy openings, resembling mouths, unfurled like grotesque flowers, converting the high-pitched shrill into a mimicked cry of a little girl. "Help me, I'm lost. Help me." Headlights illuminated the surroundings as our father's pickup truck approached, making its way down the path. The reindeer, or whatever abomination it was, scampered off, disappearing once again into the snow-covered thicket. Nobody believed our story. Why would they? If someone had told me that tale, I would have assumed they were under the influence of some hallucinogenic substance. But the chilling truth of what I witnessed remained, a reality I couldn't fully accept. Instead of sleeping that night, my sister and I delved into research, stumbling upon the myth of skinwalkers, beings capable of mimicking voices and assuming animal forms to lure unsuspecting souls into the depths of the woods. After reading other accounts, there was no doubt in my mind that we had encountered one of these entities. Throughout that night, I would occasionally peer out the window, scanning the yard, half expecting to catch a glimpse of that leathery face lurking among the trees. memories. Neither my sister nor I ever made that trip to Hope again, much to the dismay of our family. But amidst the terror, there was a silver lining. She and I grew closer than ever before. As we reach the end of this chilling tale, darkness envelops the screen, but the horrors still linger in our minds. If you dare to explore more bone-chilling stories and brave the depths of fear, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Remember to turn on notifications so you're always one step ahead in this harrowing journey. Thank you for watching, and may your nights be filled with terror.